Welcome, my friends, to a world where ancient mysteries still whisper beneath the sands. If you want to uncover secrets lost to time, support us by subscribing, liking, and commenting. Join us on this journey. There's so much more to discover. And, please remember you have to see this. At the end of the video, thank you for listening. And don't forget to follow the channel and watch future videos. Subscribe, like, and comment. You have to see this. You have to see this. This discovery shocked every scientist. In a quiet place, something completely unexpected turned up underground. It wasn't just an ordinary skeleton, it was a fully preserved body, tied up with ropes in a fetal position. Its hands were covering its face, almost as if it was hiding a secret. And the strangest part, it wasn't found in a cemetery, but in the heart of an ancient city. Who was this young man? Why was he buried this way? What archaeologists uncovered invites us to reveal a story that's been hidden for centuries. In the dry, silent valley of Cajamarquilla, on the outskirts of Lima, a team of archaeologists began another day of digging. In the dry, silent valley of Cajamarquilla, on the outskirts of Lima, a team of archaeologists began another day of digging. The sun was barely peeking over the dusty hills, the air dry and heavy with mystery. None of them imagined that right beneath their feet that morning lay an ancient being that would change everything. As their tools carefully struck the hard earth, a strange shape began to emerge, a 3-meter-long underground chamber. Its entrance had been sealed for centuries, locked away by time itself. When they finally opened it, a sudden silence fell over the team. Something was inside, something that had been watching them for ages. From the darkness they pulled out a human body, not a skeleton, not just a handful of bones, but a full figure in the fetal position, hands covering its face. It was wrapped tightly in ancient ropes that still held it in place. It looked more asleep than dead. Time had surrounded him, but hadn't destroyed him. He was a young man, probably between 18 and 22 years old. His body had been arranged with precision. The fetal posture, the woven baskets around him, the hidden gesture behind his hands, everything pointed to some sort of ritual. Nothing was left to chance. He'd been prepared for something beyond death, but why? Around him were silent offerings, pots, plates, and ceramic tools. Simple objects, but heavy with meaning. This wasn't a normal burial. There was respect, fear, and devotion. Whoever buried him believed in something, maybe another world, maybe that he still walked among the living. Initial analysis dated the find between 800 and 1200 AD in what's known as the Late Intermediate Period, a time of change, alliances and conflict. Back then, the Ishma and Chakila cultures dominated the region before being absorbed by the rising Inca Empire. The mummy seemed to belong to this time of transition. But what made it even more fascinating was the location, Cajamarquilla Fortress. Cajamarquilla Fortress. Far from being a simple settlement, it was a major pre-Inca urban center. Thousands lived there, traded, built and died, and now from deep within, its forgotten history was resurfacing. This wasn't a cemetery, it was a living city, a crossroads between coastal and mountain cultures. To bury someone here with such elaborate rites meant they were exceptional. Maybe he was a messenger, a young man of high status, a bridge between worlds, or maybe even a sacrificial victim. Archaeologists were puzzled by the way the body was bound. Was it symbolic? Or meant to ensure he could never return? The fact that his hands covered his face opened darker possibilities. Shame, fear, or some unknown ritual meant to protect him from the afterlife. With extreme care, the team removed the mummy and moved it to a preservation site. Still bound in his ropes, he underwent detailed study. Every fibre, every cut, every trace told part of a story buried for over 1,000 years. Today, the young man lies in a display case at the National University of San Marcos under the dim glow of museum lights. He's no longer hidden. Now he's studied, photographed and observed. But his silence remains unbroken. Even though his body has been freed from the earth, his spirit seems trapped in some corner of time. Thousands visit him, some in awe, some uneasy, but all feel the same thing. They're not just looking at human remains, They're standing before a being that still holds secrets. His presence demands attention. His story isn't finished. Every glance asks him the same question. Who were you? This discovery doesn't just shine light on a forgotten part of the Andes past. It's a reminder that the Earth still hides voices we haven't heard yet. Stories buried deep that could change what we thought we knew. Because as long as places like Cajamarquilla exist, the past will never truly rest. And so the young man bound in ropes and silence walks among us again, not with steps, but with mystery. Sometimes the dead don't rest, they simply wait to be found. Number 1. In 1932, in the San Pedro Mountains in the U. Number 1. In 1932, in the San Pedro Mountains in the U. Number 1. In 1932, in the San Pedro Mountains in the US, a cave explosion uncovered a mummy that looked human, but was only 35 centimeters tall. Even though it was the size of a newborn, its face was that of an elderly person, with deep wrinkles, sharp teeth, and a disturbingly intense expression. When the discovery was announced, many doubted it was real, but X-ray studies proved it wasn't a doll or a hoax. It was a real human. Some researchers linked it to Native American legends about tiny warrior tribes. Others went further, suggesting it might have been a human-alien hybrid. The strangest part? In the 1970s, the mummy, nicknamed Pedro, vanished without a trace. Since then, no one knows where it is or its true story. Number 2. The Roman wooden figurine. Number 2. The Roman wooden figurine. In the UK, an incredible Roman-era find turned up during archaeological work for the new HS2 high-speed rail project in Twyford, Buckinghamshire. The small wooden statue dates to between 43 and 70 AD, according to radiocarbon dating. Normally, wood like this would have rotted away long ago, but it was preserved because it had been buried under oxygen-free clay. Still, it wasn't untouched by time. Its arms and feet were gone, but much of the detail remained, including lines in the robe and what may be strands of hair. Experts aren't sure whether it had blonde hair or wore a cap. They also don't know if it was a village offering for good luck or something placed in a grave. Number 3. The Cochno Stone. Number 3. The Cochno Stone. Near the town of Clydebank in Scotland lies a massive stone covered in intricate carvings, spirals, circles and lines. Known as one of Scotland's most mysterious archaeological finds, it's around 5,000 years old. Some researchers think these symbols may be an ancient map of the night sky, suggesting the stone was used for astronomical purposes, tracking stars, planets and celestial movements. Others believe it was part of religious or spiritual rituals honoring gods or nature spirits. And then there are those who believe it might be proof of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Despite decades of research, the true purpose of the Cochno Stone remains a mystery. Number 4. Ancient wooden offerings. Number 4. Ancient wooden offerings. The Templo Mayor, the heart of the massive religious complex of the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, has produced countless artifacts over the years. Excavations have been ongoing for decades, and in June of 2022, archaeologists announced they had uncovered more than 2,500 wooden objects. These included small figurines, headdresses, masks, jars, earrings and ceremonial staffs, likely offerings made by priests in the 14th century to dedicate the main temple to their gods. It's extremely rare for wooden objects to survive for centuries, but these were preserved thanks to the area's high humidity and low oxygen levels. Adelphia, 2017. A construction crew was working on a housing complex when they stumbled across what looked like scattered bones. Adelphia, 2017. A construction crew was working on a housing complex when they stumbled across what looked like scattered bones. But as they dug deeper, they found something far more shocking. Fully intact coffins, carefully buried just 6 feet below ground, right under a parking lot. And the surprises didn't stop there. The more they dug, the more they found, until the total reached 38 coffins. Archaeologists were called to the site and made a stunning discovery. These remains belong to Philadelphia's old colonial cemetery. But here's the mystery. they weren't supposed to be there. Back in the mid-1800s, the bodies were supposed to be moved to Mount Moriah Cemetery when the First Baptist Church, founded in 1710, stopped using the land. But something went wrong. For reasons no one knows, these people were left behind, forgotten for over a century. Now, archaeologists and historians are racing against time to recover each coffin before weather and decay destroy these vital pieces of the past. But the real intrigue isn't just the find itself. It's what the skeletons can tell us. Who were they? How did they live? Experts will analyze the bones for clues about their ages, health, and the harsh living conditions in colonial Philadelphia. Number 6. The Royal Treasure. Number 6. The Royal Treasure. In 2018, archaeologists made the discovery of a lifetime in the remote mountains of Kazakhstan. On the Sasik Plateau, they uncovered over 3,000 pieces of gold and gemstone jewelry, believed to have belonged to the kings and royal family of the ancient Saka people who once lived there. The treasure, around 2,800 years old, was described as priceless. The rugged, hard-to-reach Tabagatai Mountains would have been the perfect burial site for high-ranking individuals, safe in the belief that no grave robbers would ever reach them, at least until archaeologists arrived nearly 3 millennia later. Among the recovered artifacts were gold plaques, chains, necklaces, plates, and ornate golden bells. Perhaps the most impressive of all were tiny gold beads once sewn onto clothing, crafted with such precise soldering that even today, with all our technology, replicating them would be a serious challenge. This alone suggests the Saka were far more advanced than the nomadic offshoot of the Scythians label some historians have given them. Number 7. Roman central heating. Number 7. Roman central heating. You know, every time you turn on central heating on a cold day, you can thank the ancient Romans. They actually came up with the idea over 2,000 years ago. Their version, called the hypocaust, was a real luxury found in the homes of the wealthy all across the Roman Empire. The famous writer and philosopher Seneca had one in his villa and, well, he often wrote about it, calling it the height of comfort. To create central heating, Roman builders left empty spaces between the walls and beneath the floors. A furnace was placed in one corner of the building, and the heat from the fire would flow through these spaces, warming the whole structure. With a large enough fire and a good design, a single hypocaust could even heat an entire Roman bathhouse. This simple yet effective system was used for centuries, and honestly there's no reason it couldn't still work today in places without modern heating. Number 8. The Copper Bull Statue. The Copper. Number 8. The Copper Bull Statue. Exactly 100 years ago, in 1923, British archaeologist Leonard Woolley discovered a copper statue of a bull at a site called Tel al-Ubaid, near the ancient city of Ur in southern Iraq. Despite Woolley's skill as an archaeologist, he wasn't all that great at naming his finds, so he simply called it the Copper Bull and shipped it to England. Today it's part of the British Museum's collection and is thought to be around 4,600 years old. It's worn and damaged, partly from age and partly because the stones of the temple where it once stood collapsed on it. While other bull sculptures were found nearby, this one is the largest and among the few recovered almost completely intact. Originally it had wooden components that rotted away over time, but these have since been replaced with molten wax to restore the missing parts. Number 9. The Maya Corn God's Head. Number 9. The Maya Corn God's Head. In May 2022, archaeologists from Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History found the severed head of the Maya corn god in Palenque near the Usumacinta River. Palenque is already famous among historians and archaeologists for having some of the most stunning ancient Maya architecture and sculpture ever discovered. This head, made of plaster, had been deliberately placed in a small pool of water, symbolically recreating an entrance to the Maya underworld. The Maya believed the universe was divided into 3 realms, heaven, earth, and the underworld, and that it was possible to move between them through special gateways. Although the sculpture was designed to look like a severed head, it likely never had a full-sized body. It was probably created specifically as a head and mounted on a tripod stand before being positioned